It's up to 500,000.
I know.
What do you think of that?
First things first, I'm probably going to apply.
In this video, I sat down with Joseph Rosenbaum. Joe has been focusing for more than a year on metaprompting, the field of prompt engineering for which Anthropic, the creators of Claude model, one of the most capable AI models out there today, they're offering up to $500,000. As I'm editing this video, Anthropic changed the title of a job description, and I know that this is still the same job post because I still have all my highlights, and now still the price is the same. So it's not just metaprompting, it's prompting in general now. We explain what is metaprompting, we discuss Anthropic's decision to invest in research and prompt engineering, and of course we look at this job position in greater detail. I found metaprompting position. Please don't apply. We need you at SimphMinds.
You don't want me as a spy in Anthropic?
No, but I would like to go through it, how feasible it is, because it's up to 500,000.
I know.
What do you think of that?
First things first, I'm probably going to apply. It's wild. That is a wild annual salary for a metaprompting engineer. Granted, like we'll go through the responsibilities and the knowledge and whatever. You look at OpenAI, for example, there's that article where the machine learning engineers are getting close to $1 million a year. The race for talent is incredibly cutthroat right now. And so they are looking for a very specialized person, someone who is very good at prompt engineering, but also is very good at coding and programming and the machine learning side of things too. It's not as ridiculous maybe as at first glance.
If you look at what Anthropic did with Claude model and all the series following that, with prompt engineering, baking prompting tool directly into Claude, which is super nice. I use it quite often when I'm lazy on prompting, and also helping us to debunk the black box that is AI and how does it work. Investing in research and prompt engineers in testing and creating a library of prompts seems like paying off.
Yeah, it's a very different model than OpenAI has been going for, especially more recently. And in fact, Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, was originally at OpenAI. It was really responsible for a lot of the early days of GPT-2 and whatnot, and didn't feel comfortable staying at OpenAI because the safety conversation wasn't at the forefront. And now they've really turned the tables here, because not only, at least at this point in time, have the most capable model for a pretty good price, but they got there by really focusing on safety first, which is what everyone else is cutting corners around to get the next thing out. So it's very interesting and curious to see how this race continues.
Let's look into this job position. Before we go through responsibilities, I have some highlights. Anything that stood out to you?
We should probably define metaprompting quickly. So prompt engineering, right? You're making prompts to solve a problem. Metaprompting is you're making prompts to make your prompts. There's lots of research out there that actually AI is better at prompt engineering than we are, which isn't too much of a surprise there. So if you can find the right prompt, it can make you all your prompts. And in fact, at SynthMinds, we do this all the time. We have several meta prompts that we use. Like everyone has their favorite meta prompt generator. And really this is about gathering context from the user based on what you need. And then it just optimizes your prompt to get the outputs that you're looking for.
Yeah, and meta prompting, we teach that. We've been teaching that for soon a year.
Yeah, I remember the first introduction to meta prompting was there was this Justin Feinberg like TikTok, Instagram video of him coming up with that idea. And I was like, that's all I'm going to do now, because the most annoying part about prompt engineering is writing prompts. So might as well have AI do like usual 80% of the work, and then you add that little extra 20% to fine tune it.
The way Anthropic kind of defines prompt engineering, I find it also interesting. It's a hybrid between research, engineering, and behavioral science. What do you think?
I feel like they're missing one in there, which is linguistics.
Yes.
I think that's like probably the main thing.
Everybody who went to study literacy and people were telling, what are you going to do?
English degree.
English degree. Yeah.
You speak it. Why do you need a degree?
Yeah, exactly. Now you can actually do a lot with that. So they're calling this a new discipline, and that it's a range of techniques to systematically discover and document prompting best practices. One part of this job post is developing prompt self-improvement techniques to automatically organize the model's performance on any given task. Yeah, so that's definitely more than just using a text. just to kind of bunk excitement for people. I also find it funny, like these type of mistakes where you know that there was something here.
Yeah, someone deleted it.
Someone
So who
deleted
knows who it
it.
was.
What we are asking for people when applying to share a specific prompting, model evaluation, synthetic data generation. More on that coming. Model fine-tuning or application built with large language models that you're proud of. So you should show off complex and clever prompting architecture, check, or systematic evaluation of large language model behavior in response to different prompts.
Which is funny again, because they're talking about prompt architecture, right? And it's like, what do you mean by that? Because again, are we just talking English right now? I guess there is like pseudocode. Obviously, we use Markdown a lot in our prompting. I'd be curious to know how are they thinking about prompt architecture? Because at the end of the day, it's just like words.
When you get the interview, ask them, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to take the wheel and dive into responsibilities? What stood out to you?
Yeah, metaprompting again, we're trying to abstract away prompt engineering as much as we can. So this is the automated prompting techniques. They want to fine tune models. And so what that means is that you have your base model, right? Your foundational model, and then you're feeding it extra data and you're training it on like just a little piece of it on that extra data. And this is one of the biggest problems we're facing right now with these large language models is a lack of consistency and reliability in terms of how they respond. So the idea here is how do you make it take a set of instructions so that it is reliable and consistent in its outputs? And you're going to need to fine tune the model. That's what they do anyway through reinforcement learning from human feedback. So this is why the synthetic data was mentioned, I'm sure, is you need a lot of data to fine tune these models, like 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 different conversations. And you're not going to get that out of humans in any sort of cost-effective or scalable way. Evaluation is another huge one. There are very few reliable benchmarks right now in prompt engineering and very few reliable ways to test your prompts in mass. I can tell you, starting off as a prompt engineer years and years ago, at least that's how it feels, like the most annoying part is testing the prompts because there's always an edge case. There's always like the second you think you got everything worked out, the client tries something and it doesn't work anymore. And so really figuring out like, what are you testing this prompt against to make sure again that it's reliable. And then I think like the last one is the most important probably is there are these research papers coming out on prompt engineering like every single day. There are new techniques being discovered. It is really, like I think they said earlier, a very new field. Like obviously it existed before Chat dropped, but now with the capabilities of these models, it's like you can throw a stone and discover something new with prompt engineering, it feels like.
Here, I have to intersect because this exact last point, I think every company should have that type of person who is staying up to date with latest research and prompting and model orchestration. I would question it, but just like sharing knowledge with the team, not just like you save TikTok here or there, but actually reading research papers and applying that knowledge and then going and teaching it. The complexity just grows, and I think that's definitely fascinating. If you're interested in learning more about AI or large language models, Brilliant, the sponsor of this video, is really where you learn by doing. With thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analytics, programming, and of course AI. They have a whole learning path on computer science and programming, which has 5 different levels and 11 courses in it. Also, one of their new immersive AI workshops is how large language models work. If you're interested to go deeper and learn more in a fun and engaging way, to try everything what Brilliant has to offer free for full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/gotta-go or click the link in the description box below. You will also get 20% off on the annual premium subscription. Okay, so here they say you might be good fit if you, but it doesn't sound to me like requirement.
No, definitely not a requirement, but again, this is going to be extremely competitive. And not only that, but then they also have that line under, which is strong candidates may also have, what they're doing here is, I think it's clever in some ways, which is that, and I think they even say it later, it's you should apply to this job even if you don't think you're a fit, because prompt engineering is such a new field. We're all trying to figure it out. And let's be honest, to be a prompt engineer, you don't need to know how to code. You need to know maybe some of the concepts, how things fit together, the limitations, that kind of stuff. but you don't really need to know machine learning or how to code. So it's obviously helpful, as they've said in this job description, but it's good they didn't make that a requirement, because you could be an amazing machine learning engineer. In fact, we know a couple who are terrible at prompting.
Or other side, amazing prompt engineers who are learning programming right now, not pointing fingers.
Yes. And it's funny because like I use almost exclusively Claude to code things now. Again, if you sat me down and were like, hey, can you write some code that makes it say hello world? I'd be like,
The things that I and you were able to do without exclusively having software development or programming background, just mind blowing. If you're open to experiment and learn, that part about AI I really like. Accessibility to turn your ideas and avoid these limitations, which before would have just stopped you. I programmed React with Claude. Okay, so strong candidates, computer science, mathematics, so all these things help. As you said, again, this is a plus, and obviously it's going to be really competitive. We are talking about 500,000 guys, but it's really nice that we are opening doors and to anybody with great ideas, because you never know where this maybe unique prompting technique or something that people build come from.
One more thing, Goda. There was a really interesting thing in this application. If you scroll down, here it is. While we encourage people to use AI systems during their role, don't use it for this application process. I actually really appreciated that, setting that expectation up front and having you agree. Obviously, it's a little annoying, but it's good that they put that there and have it transparent. That's what they want.
Do you think people are not going to use AI to?
Oh, 100% they're going to use AI. No question. We'll see. Like, we both know it's impossible to actually check. So they might do the thing where they look for those words that show up frequently or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm sure they'll find someone very skilled in the art of prompt engineering for this job.